everyone, it's Lesh here. Today I'm here to share with you a makeup look, a day-to-day natural makeup look using L'Oreal products. So a while ago they sent me a collection of amazing products and I've been fooling around with them trying to find my perfect look, and I found one that's great for, you know, the medium to tan skin complexion. That's great for day-to-day when you just want to go out and you want to wear sweats and you don't want to look overly done, but you want to still look like you have a clean, polished face. So the first thing we're going to get into is definitely starting with cleaning off my face. So imagine in the morning you have errands to run today. So let's first start with washing our faces, and then I'm going to show you the complete step-by-step way that I make a look that's natural, looks like it's barely any makeup, but it highlights and accentuates just the right places. The first thing to do is just start with a natural cleanser, a very light cleanser, especially if you have a person like me that has combination skin. You don't want anything that's too oily and you don't want anything that is too light that it doesn't get all that dirt out. So let's go. Now, before I put on my moisturizer and start my makeup look, I usually spend a couple of minutes with a face mask on. So today I'm actually going to be using the Pure Clay Mask from L'Oreal. So there's two options you can use. There's this one, which is the purifying and mattifying. It's the darker one. And then there's the purifying and something else. It's featured below. But today I'm going to be using this one for the morning. I go back and forth between them only because on certain days, if I'm doing more full coverage, I definitely want the one that is a little bit more detoxing, because of the fact that if I put full makeup on, everything else is mattifying it, so I don't need anything mattifying. But if I'm doing a light look, I'll definitely do more mattifying because the rest of the products aren't. You got the power. Now the key for me in the morning is to get a nice smooth layer in the very important spots, you know, the main spot, especially my T-zone, just because I definitely want that to be the biggest part that's taken out. So I try to put more of the product there and around my cheeks and nose, because that usually dries out. And I focus on trying to keep it away from my mouth, because what I do in the morning on days such as this is I'll put the mask on, and since it has to sit for a good 10 to 15 minutes, I can go eat without having to worry about this, which of course my husband finds hilarious, because I'll be sitting there eating breakfast, cereal, bagel, or just having a nice cup of tea in the morning, depending on how hungry I am, and with this big mask on. And it just looks like I'm a scary person, so I usually try not to open our windows, and because we live on the first floor in our apartment, so we don't want people looking in and seeing this crazy woman eating her breakfast. So we're gonna put this on, leave this on for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then come rinse it off and start our makeup look for the day. All right, everyone, I just want to give you a very quick reminder that most of the products I'm going to be using are from L'Oreal. There are going to be a few that I'm not going to be using from L'Oreal, either because A, I ran out, or B, I do have very sensitive skin, and some of the products that I use, I had a bad reaction, and then I'm just kind of afraid to use them. But it's not anything to be scared of. My skin is just hypersensitive, just from family background and certain however you say it, certain things that deal with my skin I'm very sensitive to. So I'll be showing you the other products I'm using, but I'll be focusing on, can I talk today? I'll be focusing on most of the L'Oreal products. So what I did is I took off the mask, and just keep in mind the mask was very easy to take off. When it was setting, I could see that it was drying, so you saw when it put on it was very dark. And then as it dried through the 15 minutes, it did turn into like a light gray. And I could actually see where it was getting deeper into my pores, because you could see the little spots, which just showed that it was working. So I just got lukewarm water and I rinsed it off. It took me probably about less than 2 minutes to take off. It was very smooth. And once I took it off, I do usually throw a quick splash of cold water on my face to close my pores, since I just open them with the mask and with you know, the hot water. So I close them up real quick to make sure that no dirt filters back in there, especially since I'm using a towel to dry my face. And then I put a nice gel moisturizer on. I use a gel moisturizer because I have combination skin. I use a cream at night to help with the over dryness, but during the day, since I don't want to get super oily, I usually put on a gel moisturizer. So let's start with the primer. Now, I'm not using a L'Oreal primer. I have nothing against L'Oreal primers. This one I use is from Laura Mercier. It's just one I've been using for quite some time, and it's done wonders for my skin. It's a great base, and it's very light, and I don't feel like it's chunking on there, and it allows me to hydrate my skin as well as making sure that I can use those matte products that doesn't dry it out, because if I use too much matte, my skin does start looking dry and crackly, and you can start seeing it on my nose as soon as I put it on. So, and the key is, once you smooth all this on, some people fall into the trap of immediately putting their foundation on right away. Do not do that, because you're not allowing your primer to set on your face. What you're doing is you're putting your foundation on, and then your foundation's just smoothing it away, and the primer is just at no use. But let's start with what I usually start after my primer is I start with my BB cream. So I am using the L'Oreal BB cream in medium. I'm using this to basically just smooth out those imperfections. I do find that I have a little bit of large pores, so I like to cover those up, especially for a very day-to-day look. So the amount I put on there is probably about, you know, a couple dots, again, on my 2 fingers. And I just kind of dot them on places. Make sure to get the main places first, and then I just smooth it out all over. Another one in the basket. So after I put my BB cream on, I let that set, I go to my foundation. Now I'm going to be using the Infallible Pro Glow foundation today, and I'm using it in this color only because what I'm going to do afterward is I'm going to put on a powder that's going to a little darker, so it's going to balance out, because I have multiple colors throughout the day. Like literally I'll look very bright one day and very dark the other day, and it depends. So I like to use 2 different colors so it blends out, because I can never find one that's my exact skin tone. So what I do is I actually use, this is one of the L'Oreal blenders. I use this one. Now there are multiple blenders. There's this one, which is for the foundation. There's this one for the concealer, which we'll use in a little bit. And then there's one we won't be using today. I haven't used it yet. It's actually brand new because I needed to get new ones. There's one especially for contouring, but since we won't be contouring today, I'm not going to be using it, but you can see like it has edges, and then on the back, it gives directions. So any of the blenders that you get, you'll get directions from L'Oreal, which I find is great because some people just don't know, and they've been using blenders wrong the entire way. And then instead of like taking all that time and figuring out yourself, they just tell you right away. So what I do is I take a little bit, I take the flat edge on the bottom edge, and I put a little bit right there, about that side, about that amount, if you can see. So again, you do see me looking a lot lighter than my natural skin tone, but again, do not freak out. This is just a way to kind of balance out. So if you are my skin complexion, just know that there is a way to find your perfect skin tone without actually finding your perfect skin tone, if that makes any sense. L'Oreal product is the Too Faced Brow Envy, just to fill in my brows a little bit. I do this before I put on my powder on my face, only because it just helps in case I need to get those edges I go too far, I can fix those up. So the next thing I'm gonna do is work towards my powder. So I actually have been using this Cover X FX, which I swear by. I swear by this. What this does is actually blends everything out. So I'm gonna hold on to this, And then I'm also going to be using a foundation stick. Now this one's from Anastasia Beverly Hill. As you can see, it's a lot darker than my skin tone. It does not match. So what I usually do first, before I put on the setting powder, is I go and I put a little dot, a little line here, and a line here as if I'm about to contour, but I'm not. A little line here, a little line here, and one on my chin. Very light, very small.
Black dress to the nice New Year's in a pin from the floor to the roof, make the skyline spin.
And then I take my little powder. And be careful when you open this stuff because literally I get it everywhere. You take a little bit, like literally you just dab it, tap the excess off. See, now I'm back to my skin tone. So I'm back to this flawless looking matte, semi-matte. So you're gonna put as many on as till you can start seeing a light highlight, a little light glow. L'Oreal actually has an amazing set of mascara, and I've been swearing by this. Like, this is only what I've been using lately, and usually I am addicted to eyeliner, but ever since I found these two products, I haven't had to use eyeliner, and I literally just put this on in the morning and I'm just like, I'm ready to go. I haven't put any other makeup on. Like, if I don't do anything else, I at least put these on. So the first thing is the primer. It's this L'Oreal Voluminous Base. It's actually a primer from L'Oreal. And then there is the Lash. It's the Lash, what is it called? Lash Paradise. Basically, you're looking for the pink tube that looks basically majestic, and you're looking for the white tube. Put these together. They come in two separate packages, but they are the best. So the first thing I do is, obviously, as we always do, you put on your primer. Now the primer is going to come out white. It is white. It's not going to come out clear. So all you do is, what I start with is I put it on my top lashes first, starting from the top, and then I roll them up, and I put a light on the bottom.
Another one. We the best music. DJ Khaled.
I don't know if you could take it. No, you wanna see me naked, naked, naked. I wanna be
like any primer, you let them dry. And you actually can start seeing, like what I usually do is I can start seeing my eyelash. Like, you know when you wear fake eyelashes, you can kind of see them, that they're just there. There's a lot more lash going on. And when you put that primer on, you start seeing like, oh gosh, there's a lot more lashes in my view than there were before. And I have very thin lashes. They actually fall all the time. I'm like the worst shedder when it comes to my eyelashes.
wow, wow, wow. When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
Let's go.
I hope you know I'm for the taking.
So as you can see, now my eyes are fully there. You can see everything. So now that my eyes are done, my full face is done, now it's about the lips. So I'm actually going to be using the Infallible Matte little lip color from L'Oreal. You can see this, it's not focusing today. There we go. Infallible, and this color is Shakedown 352.
When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
So as you can see, it's darker than where I have a lip color, but it still looks natural for me. Now at this point, I'll probably dab it a little bit as I let it dry, but the thing is, it's going to look a whole lot darker and a whole lot more there because it hasn't mattified yet. And again, it does get lighter when it mattifies. And this is my final look. I hope you all enjoyed one of my few makeup tutorials that I do on Living Lesh, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again. See ya.